Hey guys, welcome to the MangaMark channel. Today I am doing my character rankings for One Piece arcs of Zou and Whole Cake Island, right? Loads of characters in here. So we're gonna get straight into it. Loads and loads of characters in these kind of arcs. And I've noticed from looking at this, loads of characters from Whole Cake that I just do not know the names of, because there was loads of these family members that were just kind of in the background or they were on screen for like a split second. So I might describe them and my quick thoughts on them, and then I'll place them in a tier. Obviously the ones that are more prominent characters will go into discussion, right? And I'll give my reasoning for the placement. But like I said, the ones that didn't leave much of an impression, what can I say, right? We'll get to that. Now, thankfully here, we've got all the Straw Hats at the start, right? So, all the Straw Hats up here, so we can get them out of the way and then we can get into all these crazy characters. We've got the ones of Zou and Germa down the bottom. Excellent, right? So as per usual, if you've seen any of these rankings we've done before, these tier lists we've done before, S, A, B, C, D, trash, right? Trash tier. S tier, you know, we know the criteria. We know the criteria, you know, Straw Hat level character development, you know, like I'll give my reasoning. But, you know, like non-Straw Hat wise, S tier Whitebeard, trash tier Gecko Moria. We know the script by now, guys, right? Let's not get into it. And as per, like I discussed before, I'll give my reasoning, right? So let's get in. Let's get straight in. Obviously, right, let's just get Luffy up in S tier. I don't need to explain why. He's one of those rare shonen protagonists, for me, that is always there as my favourite character. I flip-flop between, like, obviously him and Zoro are my favourites, but most other shonen, I'll kind of gravitate towards other characters or side characters, whatever it may be. But no, like Luffy's just, he is the best protagonist. The best protagonist. I don't care what anybody says. Okay, I've made comparisons in the past. If anybody wants to debate me on that, throw in the comments who you think is a better protagonist than Luffy, and we'll discuss it, because not for me. Zoro, like I've said before, obviously doesn't have much to do in this arc. Oh, I'm guessing because of Zou. Right, I was wondering why all the Straw Hats were in here, but they were there for Zou. That's right. Yeah, obviously not a lot to contribute to these arcs, to Whole Cake and Zou, but he's an S tier character. Let's just get the ones that, like, obviously Usopp, get him up there. Frankie, get him up there. Robin, get her up there, right? We're not going to discuss much about them this arc and give my reasonings, but they're S tier characters. You know, like there's certain points in the story that they cemented themselves as S tier characters. Zoro was very much in the East Blue. Like him and Luffy for me were my favourites all the way back there. But Usopp, I'd say, you know, Usopp round about Water 7 time, S tier. That's what, you know, cemented it. Frankie, I can't remember, like I loved Frankie from Water 7. I feel like he was one of the characters that joined the crew but got a lot of character development before, and like background before he even joined the crew. Same with Robin, like we got Robin, obviously the same as Usopp. Water 7 in his lobby is when, you know, if you didn't love Robin then what can you say? But even getting those couple of little arcs, well, Skypiea as well, to spend with Robin with the crew, you know, like to kind of try and figure her out before we got into it. So yeah, S tier. Nami, obviously, you know, one of the first crew members, and just this arc, you know, I loved getting, you know, that serious side of Nami when she had that kind of confrontation with Sanji. Obviously, she is kind of like the mother of the crew, right? She's the one that keeps them in line. She's the one that has to scold them. She plays that role, but every now and then Nami, you know, she has that emotion that cuts through. I'm looking forward to seeing, and she really stepped up as well during the fight with Big Mom and let them try to get away on the Sunny. That just, you know, just navigation shows you why she's such an important, probably one of the most important members of the crew in terms of like on the ship. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with Zeus. If that's good, like, you know, especially if what Big Mom said is true and she is going to come to Wano. Because, yeah, that'll be interesting. Sanji, right? This is Sanji's arc. And, oh my God, like getting all that background about Sanji, about the Vince Smokes and everything there. Outstanding. You know, like, I didn't think I needed it, because like Sanji and Zoro were the two that we knew the least about, I would say. You know, Sanji and Zoro, we've never really had a flashback for those two. Everybody else, you know, we had like Zoro with Kuina. We had that little kind of, but it was like a one-time thing. We got Sanji with Zeph, which was great. But you didn't know much about their backgrounds besides that. You know, you saw how they were kind of raised. And that's kind of all you needed at the time. But getting that background for Sanji, you know, to show that he's got so much more. Because I wondered, like, where he came from in terms of, they dropped hints. Oda dropped hints so far back about North Blue. You know, with the Nolan story and things like that, to say that he originally came from there before he ended up in East Blue. But I did not expect that backstory. You know, what he's been through. And then this whole arc, just watching the emotions that Sanji goes through in this arc. And then the stuff with Luffy, him and Luffy, oh man. Excellent. Excellent. If you did, I understand why people don't like Sanji. I get it. And people have explained to me that they kind of make him look worse in the anime. You know, they make him, I don't know if it's like more goofy or kind of all the, there's certain points in the story I think that, you know, from discussing with you guys, it really hurt Sanji. And I agree, but like the stuff on Thriller Bark, and then the stuff with Eni's lobby, but his chivalry, you can, you know, I get it. I get people kind of being upset because obviously Robin's life was on the line, things like that. But there's certain times where I admire him for it. But I get what people are saying. You know, the nosebleed stuff after the time skip and going to Fishman Island. Yeah, I get it. There's loads of times where people might have took an image against him. I feel like Oda very much leaned into, you know, his goofy side a lot more. But what can I say? I just think that the good so much outweighs the bad. Especially like, you know, all the stuff in early One Piece where like Sanji was so cool being introduced, and the Mr. Prince stuff, and like always, like you felt like he was always the one that kind of went off into the background and had like a secret plan, whether it be Skypiea, whether it be you know, letting them escape at Eni's lobby. He always kind of saw things before and even like Little Garden speaking, the first person to speak to Crocodile, he's always got his own kind of thing going on. Yeah, and I feel like this arc kind of did a lot to, if you weren't on board with Sanji, I'm hoping that this arc kind of made you look at him differently, right? Chopper, who doesn't love Chopper? Who does not love Chopper? This is gonna, guys, I know that this, everybody's going in S right now, but this is the Straw Hats, right? This is the Straw Hats we're talking about. Don't worry, this is going to even out when we get into, I can see some trash characters down there. Don't worry, we'll get into that, right? But these are the Straw Hats, right? And Chopper, as much as there's certain arcs where I feel like Chopper is comedic effect, right? But you've got to remember, obviously his backstory's great. You know, everything on drum, I love it. But you've got to remember how important Chopper is. He's a very skilled doctor, right? And Zoe, the people of Zoe aren't here without Chopper, right? Chopper played a massive role in Zoe. You know, and obviously he played his part during Whole Cake. I loved his kind of partnership that he had going with Carrot. Those two were a kind of duo in Whole Cake. Excellent. Excellent stuff. Yeah, so, yeah, I'm glad that Chopper got a chance to shine. Maybe not as much as other characters during Whole Cake, but like I said, Zoe was his arc. Zoe was his arc because of Thing with There, and, you know, he fit in really well in Zoe because of obviously the way, because he looks like a mink. You know, he looks like a mink, even though we know he's not, right? Brooke, okay. Okay. And guys, at the end, I might kind of sort out the S tier, you know, depending on my kind of individual rankings of them. Brooke, for me, this is the arc. If you did not have Brooke as an S tier character, this is the arc. I feel like Brooke didn't have a lot of chances to shine. A lot of chances to shine. Obviously, during Thriller Bark, he was the highlight. Obviously, his backstory, everything there. Great character, great addition to the crew. But then after that, we went to Subodhi. We didn't get much with him. The crew gets separated like right away. Not long after he joins the crew. So he's out there, and then how many arcs did we get? You know, during that, where it was just Luffy. We got to check in with him, with the crew, but it was just Luffy. And then we didn't get reunited until we were back on Subodhi. And then the time skip happens. Right? Time skip happens, and then we're all back together. There's too much going on for Brooke to kind of get the spotlight. You know, whether it be Fishman Island, Punk Hazard, and then he's not really there during Dressrosa because him, Chopper, Nami, Sanji were away on the Sunny, heading to Zoe. So this was his arc. The Oda kind of gave him, like, right, okay, let me show you what Brooke's all about. Whether it be him stealing the poneglyph, facing off against Big Mom by himself to kind of get the poneglyph, breaking the picture, or Caramel's picture. And then again on the Sunny, taking on Big Mom and, like, you know, stalling her. There was so many times that Brooke came through in this arc. And what can you say? Like, if there's any Brooke haters out there, like I said, this is it. This is the arc that if you can't acknowledge it, then I don't know what to say to you. Jinbei, same. Like, Jinbei, and I'm worried about him because we didn't get a resolution when the arc ended as to what happened to him when he stayed to face off against Big Mom to protect Aladdin and the Fishmen. But Brooke is a character that's been S tier for me even before he met the rest of the crew. You know, we saw him during Impel Down, we saw him during not Ennie's Lobby, Jesus, Marineford. He's protected Luffy so many times. This man has saved Luffy's skin so many times, and I am so happy he's becoming a crew member. He's became a crew member, it's official, he is a Straw Hat, right? And I am so happy about that, because I didn't really think that that was going to be a possibility when we kind of first met him, and maybe even during Marineford, because of obviously the Warlord and the Fishmen, like everything about his character. I didn't think that someone of his stature was going to join the crew. But, oh man, I'm so happy that is not the case. Obviously, the epic moment of him putting down the sake cup in front of Big Mom, showing that he's not, he's not scared of her, so she couldn't take his lifespan. Just awesome, awesome. Obviously, he's staying back. That's what you would expect from Jinbei. Jinbei is that guy. Jinbei will sacrifice himself for his friends, and he better be okay. He better be okay, and like I want to see Jinbei as part of the crew for future arcs, right? Oda better not make him officially join and then kill him off. I'll lose it. I will lose it, right? So here we go. Let's get in. Now we've got all the Straw Hats out of the way, and they are where they belong. Some of you may disagree. Some of you may think that not all the Straw Hats deserve to be in S tier. I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong. I think that this is the rarest of rare series, and it's why I love it so much. But I think that Oda has done a fantastic job of creating these characters. I think that they all are S tier characters, and that is the strength of this series. Is they're all great, they all gel well together. You love seeing them interact with each other, even after all this time. Even after all this time, I've watched 800 odd episodes going on to 900. If I just get an episode where they're all on the Sunny, I'm happy with that. You know, just because the characters are so good, I know them inside and out now. And there's not one of them I dislike, which is rare. You know, how many series have we seen, like big shonen series, where the main characters get you're supposed to like these characters and you just don't, right? I can name loads of them from Dragon Ball. I can name loads of them from Naruto. You know, Sasuke, Sakura. I just, not for me, right? Even Naruto at times annoyed me. This is the best lineup of characters in any series. I don't care what anybody says, right? So, Snack. Ooh. This one's tough. I'm going to put him in C tier. Didn't get enough. Didn't even get enough during the kind of little flash where you showed you that Erouge had taken him. Oh no, wait, was it Kid? No, it was Erouge. I know that Kid had a kind of run-in with them. Am I getting mixed up? No, Erouge took out Snack. And then Cracker had to show up. Right? I believe so. I believe I'm right. But even at that, you didn't get to see it. You didn't get to see what you got a little glimpse, I'm sure, of what happened. But we didn't get right into it. And we didn't get much of him after that. It was just kind of there. Design, not much to, shout out about. So, yeah, he's just there, in the middle. Not much else to it. Perospero. Do you know what? As much as it pains me to do it, I'm going to put him in A. I hate him. I hate him because of Pedro. Hate him. But that is his purpose. He is a villain. He is a villain, and he is one of the smartest of Big Mom's crew, and he was one of the biggest fawns on our side. So he played his role perfectly. Yeah, so I think he deserves to be not quite an S tier. Not quite an S tier. There are S tier characters. We'll get to that. I think you all know one of them who is guaranteed. We'll get there. But yeah, I'd say A for Pearl Sparrow. I can't remember her name, but this is the firstborn daughter of Big Mom, and the fact that I can't remember her name is why she's going in D tier, because she didn't leave much of an impression. She didn't do much for being Big Mom's firstborn, because like Pearl Sparrow's the firstborn son, and he played a massive part in this arc. She did nothing, right? Nothing. So she's there. Daifuku. Do you know what? I'm going to put Daifuku in B, and I'm going to put Oven in A alongside Pearl Sparrow. I feel like, obviously, I know that the triplets are Oven, Daifuku, and Katakuri, right? I feel like Oven left much more of an impression on me, just because he had, like, you know, all the stuff with Pound, and you know, his kind of role there, like, against the Fishmen. Daifuku was there as a hindrance, yeah, and obviously was formidable, but I just don't think he was as prominent as... Oda made you hate Pearl Sparrow and Oven. You know, they were the ones that when they showed up, you were like, ah, crap, right? I don't feel like Daifuku left as much as an impression. Whereas like Oven like just seemed like he was always getting in our way, and just, you know, being a pain. But like I said about Pearl Sparrow, that was his role, that was his purpose. Oh, these guys. Do you know, I'm gonna put, was it Opera? I believe his name is. I'll put him in C, because I like the kind of, it didn't have much else to do, but I like the fact that he kind of tried to cover up that he didn't, you know, take out Luffy and them, and you could see him throughout it panicking. So you knew that was a kind of fun little plot point for me, where I was waiting for it all to come crumbling down on him. So I give him that, but his brothers probably put in D tier. They were just there to be in the way. I'm not going to put them in trash, because they played their role. You know, they were there to get in Luffy's way. Not much of a personality to them, but, you know, they were there. This first one, trash, because I don't remember him, and he's not left an impression on me. In fact, you know what? That's unfair, right? If I can't really remember them much, I'd maybe put them in D, because they're just there. They're in the background. I remember the crew. Trash is for ones that I dislike, right? Let's go with that. Let's go with that, right? So, sorry, whoever this guy is, you're just a D tier character. Montdor, oh, I'm going to put him in B alongside Daifuku. I thought that he was a good character. I thought his Devil Fruit was really unique, and played a big part in it. But yeah, he seemed like he was like a key figure of the family when we were trying to kind of escape. So yeah, I'll put him there. This guy, I can't remember his name. But he was okay. I'll put him in C. He was okay when we were trying to escape. When Luffy was trying to escape the mirror with Sanji, I remember this guy, like, you know, with a sword. He was coming after us pretty aggressively. So yeah, I like his character design. Not much else to say about him. Oh, this guy. This was the guy with the long neck, wasn't it? Yeah, I'll put him in D tier. Just D tier. Not much to say. Him and his sister, where is she? There she is there. D tier. They were annoying. They were there to be annoying. And that was it. Like, not much else to it. Right, okay. Now, here we go. Trash. 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 Where are the girls? Here we go. Trash. trash, 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 trash. Didn't like it. Didn't like these, like, whatever they are. You know, just bland characters. I think they were just there to fill out the numbers. You know, they combined like Power Rangers into a mega form. Okay. I didn't like them. I thought that their role could have been played by other characters. But yeah, no, not for me. Oh God, I can't remember her name. But she was okay. She had a kind of unique design. She had the long arms and legs. But she didn't really do much. I'll put her in D. Oh, I forgot her name as well. But I remember her, you know, she was kind of there with Mondor. She was okay, she was C tier. I liked her reactions to a lot of stuff, you know, because she was there when Cracker got blasted away. Her reaction to that there, I thought that was really funny. Obviously, she was there when everything was going down and she had to react to, you know, the comings and goings of certain characters reacting to the news. Yeah, she was quite good. Right, okay. Almandi? I'm not pronouncing it right, but I'm going to put her in A. I thought she was a good character. She was intimidating. She was an intimidating character. When she showed up, I was like, okay, she's formidable. The same as, like, you know, Perospero and Oven. I thought she was good. She was good. Her sisters, on the other hand, not so much. Right? Yeah, they're just trash. I felt like Oda, and this is going to be a theme here, guys, is that I feel like a lot of these characters were just there to be different versions of, like, to show, like, oh, we've got, you know, like Opera there, and you've got, like, there's three brothers who are just, like, there to show you, oh, these are, you know, quadruplets. Right? That's the same with Amanda here with these three. You're just like, right, okay. They're just there. They didn't do anything. They're just lesser versions of her, which I didn't really need that, to be honest. But I get it. I get what Oda was doing to kind of show you what the deal was with this family. These two, going to put in D. Same with this guy. And D. Same with her. And D. I get that they're obviously not very memorable characters, but I don't have any gripe with them. No gripe with them, so I'm not going to put them in trash, but they were just there. Right? Now, Brule. What do I want to do with Brule? Oh, this is a tough one. I really liked Brule. But I don't think she's S tier. Like, I can't justify putting her in S tier. I'm gonna put her in A. But let me just say, I really liked Brule. And I did not expect to like her as much as I did. Especially when she's first introduced. At no point did I think that she was going to be this high and that I was, like, even, you know, thinking about S tier. Not a chance. But yeah, I don't think she quite makes the cut. We'll see characters later on that do, and you'll know why. But yeah, I think that she was one of my favourite members of this family. You know, getting that little flashback over helped as well, you know, with her relationship with Katakuri. So yeah, I think her Devil Fruit is crazy OP. You know, insane. But yeah, I really enjoyed Brule. Both comedic-wise and when you got a glimpse into her character to kind of see what she was about. So yeah, I'll put her in A tier. These guys, these were the three that were going up against Germa. Meh. Didn't put them in D. Didn't leave much of an impression on me. Wasn't really a fan of their designs. So, you know, they are, this guy, same again. I can't. Oh, the Minister of, I can't remember, but you know, it didn't leave much of an impression. So put him there. Now, this guy, what's his name? I'm going to give him C. I'm going to give him C tier. Oh, what's his name? God, I remember as well, because he got his lifespan taken away. This is the issue. There's so many characters. And the names are escaping me. I know by looking at some of these other ones down here, I'm like, I can't even remember some of these. But this guy, is it Minister of Gelato? Or was that that one? And Scattle? God, I can't remember. Oh, that's got to do my head, because I referenced him a few times because of what happened to him. Obviously got his lifespan taken. The reason I'm putting him in C tier is because, and not D, is because he stood up. He stood up to kind of to protect the citizens, and like obviously got his lifespan stolen. But when everybody else kind of ran away, he stood up. So we'll give him that. These don't have a clue. Don't have a clue. Don't have a clue. I think I remember this one, but yeah. Don't have a clue. Don't have a clue. Don't have a clue. I remember this guy. I remember this guy from when we were going to escape the mirror, but yeah, no. These two, do you know what? I'll give them C tier because they played a more prominent role, and you know they had a bit more presence about them. Thingy's sisters, Smoothie sisters. They were actually intimidating characters who played a role. You know, especially during the kind of big fight when the wedding broke up and we're trying to escape from the wedding. So, yeah, we'll give them that. These ones here, however, no. D tier. D tier. Don't even remember this girl. Don't remember this guy. There's two, like, this is what I'm saying, there's crazy amount of... This girl, I remember this girl here because she kind of creeped me out, right? But other than that, design, not much else happening. This guy was actually okay. We'll give him C tier. He played a kind of prominent role in when they were chasing the Sunny. So we'll give him that. We shall give him that. The same way thing with there. Give him that. But all of these, no. No, can't remember. Can't remember. Okay, I'm going to put him in trash. Wasn't a fan of the Pumpkin Man. Right? He was just there to be a Pumpkin Man. Nope. Can't remember. Can't remember. Can't remember. I remember some of these, but they were just there. They were just there. And didn't really do anything. So, let's get them out of the way. Let's just get them all in D, which is just like a forgettable tier. This guy wasn't a fan. He was obviously there when we were trying to escape the mirror. He's going in trash. I felt like just very simplistic design and didn't do anything. And it annoyed me. Let's get the children. The children from Pudding's flashback into D. Because they were there for literally one scene. And did nothing. So let's get all these D's out the way. Jesus, D tier is stacked. Right, okay. Oh, and this guy as well, D. Right, now let's get into it. Let's get into these ones that we know. Okay, pudding. Oh, pudding. I am going to put pudding in A, alongside brulee. I think that's fair. I think she's a good character. Really good character. Turned out really sad at the end. I felt really bad for her. But, yeah. Watching her reactions to Sanji once she realised that she'd fallen in love with him was hilarious for me. I thought that was great. But, yeah, she just... I can't justify putting her in S tier. I can't put her in S tier. I don't think she's that calibre, but a great character. Obviously, you hated her. You hated her so much at the when all the stuff was going on with Sanji, when she was tricking Sanji, and he was standing outside the window, and she's making fun of him. Hated her, but then you kind of saw her backstory. You saw the reason as to why she is the way that she is, and you feel really bad for her. Same with Chiffon, who we'll get to as well. But yeah, felt bad for Pudding. Right. Okay, here we go. Now, I want to put her in trash. I want to put her in trash, and I made a joke about it when she was like, when she was there, because I hate her. I hate her so much. But right, this ranking here is not about how much I like or dislike. That plays a part in it. How much I like and dislike these characters, not meant to be, or they are the scum of the earth, they suck. Because if that was the case, Pero Sparrow would be down in trash tier, because I hate him, right? It's about the character, and like, even villains and people, do they do their job? Like, what do they make you feel when you're watching or reading this series? And so, forgive me, I know like the joke is she was going to go down there. I'm going to put her in B. I hate her. I hate her more than anybody else on this list, I think. Her and Pero Sparrow, Flampe and Pero Sparrow are the two that I despise. I feel like Pero Sparrow did a lot more. That's why he deserves to be an A tier. Did a lot more in the arc and was like a big factor in it. Flampe was just really there for the Luffy Katakuri fight, but she made the most of her screen time. She made me despise her. And I feel like she was kind of there to prop up Katakuri's character, to give Katakuri the stage. But she played her role perfectly. And that is why she's getting B tier. Right? As much as I hate to do it. She belongs in trash. And just know that I think she's a trash human being, but this is what we're doing, okay? Katakuri, let's not beat around the bush. S tier. Has to be S tier. One of the best antagonists we've ever had in One Piece. I thought it was excellent. You know, the fight with Luffy, loved it. Just, that's how you do it. That is how you have an antagonist that at the end of the arc, you walk away thinking, I love that guy. I love that character. You know, he's not evil. He's not kind of like, oh, thing like that. Because like, I love Crocodile. But at the end of Alabasta, I appreciated them as a villain, but I didn't walk away thinking, I love that character, I hope that he's going to come back. You know, I want to see him interact with Luffy again. I loved what I got when that did happen, you know? And I feel like Crocodile, you can see that change in him now, many arcs later. But Katakuri, the development we got of his character through this one arc, and how it ended up with him, you know, the displays that he did, his little connection with Brule, him and Brule pointed it out, the fact that he made a point of standing back up at the end of the fight and falling on his back. I need a future, a future reunion between him and Luffy. Because I feel like the connection that was made between those two during this fight, as much as they're enemies, they both felt it. They both felt it. And, you know, Luffy putting the hat on him as he's walking away as well, putting the hat on his face. Oh, excellent. Excellent. Quickly became one of my favourite non-Straw Hat characters. Jumped to very much near the top. You know, he's up there with me now, with Whitebeard. And the likes, and Law. All, like, just... I want him to come back again. So I'm hoping that if Big Mom is going to Wano, that we might be able to see Katakuri again. Big Mom. Big Mom. Big Mom. I'm going to put her in A. Oh, God. I'm going to put her in A. She's one of the emperors. And we did get a lot. Her backstory was crazy. But do I want to put her in S tier? No. You know what? I'm not gonna. I think that's a bit of kind of like thing with it. It's a statement. That's a statement that I've made right there. Katakuri in S tier, Big Mom in A tier. Right? I think she's a good character, a great villain. Great villain. Her dynamic with her crew, it makes you hate her. Right? And that is her purpose there. But at the end of the day, character-wise, she is just a big child. And because we saw that from her flashback, she's never really grown up because of the Mother Caramel stuff and that, and like she's been indulged her whole life. But it doesn't make for a fantastic character, you know. Maybe it's because I've heard her scream the words wedding cake so much, it's kind of bumped her down for me. But yeah, excellent villain. Character-wise, not quite S tier. So I'm going to put her there. Smoothie. To put her A. No, I'm going to put Smoothie in B. Because she was intimidating. But I'd compare her to Daifuku. Like, she's there, she was intimidating, obviously she's one of the sweet generals, but we didn't get much. She played a big part in something when we were being pursued, and things like that. Her devil fruit's crazy, but yeah, I'd put her alongside Daifuku. She played a kind of similar role to him, whereas Perospero and Oven, and I would even say Amandi. I can't pronounce her name right. I know it's Almond. It's Almondi. I feel like those three were more prominent. I feel like they were more prominent. So yeah, I think she deserves to be there. alongside Daifuku and Montdor. Same with Cracker. Same with Cracker. I don't feel like Cracker gave me enough. And I wasn't a massive fan of his Devil Fruit, if I'm being honest. Not a massive fan of it. Yeah, he was just there. I feel like he was there to be that first obstacle. The first big obstacle. He had the title of Sweet General. We had to get past him. But he played a big part in it. He played a big part in the Seducing Woods. And us getting through to Sanji. So I'll give him B. I'll give him B. Oh, Strussen. I'm gonna... Probably one of the most... Like, when you find out Big Mom's backstory, probably one of the most diabolical characters. I was going to put him in B, but I feel like C is probably more fitting for him, because as much as he is a scumbag, and he is probably the reason that this island exists, because of the way he's kind of raised Big Mom, or kind of let her run riot, and not, like, I think he's the only person that knows the truth of what happened to Mother Caramel and the other kids from the orphanage, and has just kept it quiet for his own benefit. So, a scumbag. Yeah, an absolute scumbag. But other than that, he didn't have too much to do in the arc itself. Like, in the flashback, he saved them when the thing was collapsing. Yeah, he played a big part there. But other than that, like, I didn't get much of his personality. Oh. Tamago. Tamago I'm going to put in B. Put him in B. Obviously, we've had a few interactions with him, even before we got here. I think he's very smart, let's say. I think, like, you know, his character design doesn't do justice for... He seems to be one of the thinkers of this crew. And I liked his kind of connection with Pedro. But other than that, he kind of fell off once some of the more prominent members of Big Mom's family were introduced. We didn't get as much of Tamago. He was kind of there for, like, Pedro's story, and I can appreciate that. But I'd put him in B. Peckham's. Let's get Peckham's in A tier. Not quite S. Not quite S. In fact, I wouldn't have put him in S. Like, it's not the same, like, you know, how I've been thinking about some other characters. But I do like him. I do really like him. Like, I thought he was like a Big Mom diehard, which is why I was pleasantly surprised that once he heard about Pedro's death, he was willing to give it up. He was willing to throw it all away to make sure that Luffy got out of there for Pedro. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And people told me as well, which is crazy, because they didn't really show it in the anime. I get why they didn't, but it was alluded to that when he went Sulong form, when everyone jumped on top of him, they were trying to gouge his eyes out. I don't know if they did it, but apparently they were gouging his eyes out so that he couldn't see the full moon, which is crazy if that is the case, because he had very cute eyes, as we remember, you know, when he takes off those sunglasses. But yeah, Peckham's a good character. I actually hope that he manages to make it out of there, even, like, maybe get back to Zoe, because he needs to get the hell away. If he is alive, he needs to get away from this squad. Right. Let's see here. We've got some of these. Bobbin, I believe his name was. You know what? I'm going to put him in C. I'm going to put him in C. He's a funny little gimmick character, you know, like bob in the head, but I like the kind of like the thing when it was Sanji's trying to sneak out of the room and he was kind of being the hindrance and he was the only one that kind of noticed when something was going on. We had to take care of him, but yeah, I thought he was a good character. This guy, I can't remember his name, but that was funny, right? We'll give him no, not quite B. We'll give him C as well. I loved like the train guy. I loved the kind of the way the crew kind of took advantage of him in the mirror world. They just turned him into their own personal train, and that gave me some gags. So it gave me some laughs. So I enjoyed that. I remember this lady, but not too much. Alligator Man, same. He was just there to be an alligator man. This guy, can't remember him. I actually felt sorry for this guy, the guy with the cactus. But yeah, he's still D tier. I felt sorry for him because he was the one that was meant to be watching Sanji in his room. But yeah, he's not much else to him. I can't remember this character. Can't remember this guy with the forehead. Do you know what? The rabbit. I'm going to put the rabbit in D. What was his name again? Oh, he had a name. Oh God, I can't remember it. But he was in the Seducing Woods, and round about that area, he was an intimidating character. He was a thorn in our side. And as much as he didn't speak, and then we also got some funny comedic moments with him and his crane. But yeah, no, I enjoyed him. I enjoyed his role. Big crocodile, not much to say. The homies, trash. Trash. The Seducing Woods homies. This one is just hate. Right? They don't have personalities, obviously, but yeah, just watching them on like their smug faces, put them in trash. Put them in trash tier. Not much to say about that. King Bomb. Oh, poor King Bomb. Let's put him in B. I felt so bad for King Bomb. Felt so bad for him in this arc. Just wanted to be with his lady tree. And oh God, what a cruel fate he had. Oh, but some of it was funny until it became tragic. Right, okay, trash. These guys were trash. The chess pieces. Let's be clear. Right, I get it. I get the premise they were going for, Alice in Wonderland, right? But I mean, come on, what do you want me to say? They were just fodder. Rouge. Well, we technically did get him in a flashback. I'm going to put Rouge in A. Obviously not because of this arc, just as a character from the Supernovas. I feel like he has a bit of mystery to him as compared to the other Supernovas. I like that he had a kind of interaction with Kaido up on that Sky Island. We know that he's strong enough to be taking out these sweet generals. Well, at least Snack anyway. So yeah, I think Rouge is there. He's probably one of the most, is the least interesting a fair word? Yeah, probably one of the most least interesting of the Supernovas. But it's because we've not had much about him. If maybe we had a bit more, that's part of the mystery of his character. Like give us some more. And I'm hoping that in the future we get more interaction with Rouge, but I think he will deserve to be up there. Okay. Beige. Yeah, I'm in the S tier. I don't care. This is on the opposite spectrum. One of my favourite Supernovas. right? Probably my favourite Devil Fruit in the series. Love it. Love the way he uses it. Beige is great. Beige is just great, and I'm so happy that we got this arc to cement him as an S tier for me, because obviously we're going into this arc, he was there to kill Big Mom, but this was the arc that we actually got to see his personality. We got to see his personality, we got to see how he treats his crew, we got to see how he treats his family. And this is the way, that's what he said to his son, is that this is the way your dad lives, this is who I am. Excellent. Excellent. S tier character. I'm so happy that he became an ally, because I think when he's introduced in Sabodi, you're thinking, okay, out of the Supernovas, he's going to be the villain. He's going to be the villain. Look at him, look at the way he's treating his crew, because I think he stabbed one of them with a fork. I was so happy about this. You know, I'm so happy to be wrong, and yeah, excellent. Excellent character, and I can't wait to see him again. I thought it was so funny when you saw his reaction to the newspaper when it was announced at the Reverie about, and Luffy got all the credit. Luffy got all the credit for everything that happened to Big Mom. Oh, he was so angry, but that just makes it funnier. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that reunion. Chiffon, what do I want to give Chiffon? I like Chiffon, I do, but is she A tier? Obviously, you know, the connection with Lola, everything there, you know, how much she helped during, like, with the cake and all that. I'm going to put her in B. I'm going to put her in B. I do like her, but I don't feel like she's quite at the calibre of some of these other characters. You know? Personality-wise, I think she's great. Like I think she's a great person. And like what she's had to suffer at the hands of Big Mom sucks. And so I'm so happy that she is getting her kind of happy ending, getting away with beige. Definitely. I just realised that there's a couple of characters missing. Like, why is there the two Luffys down here? Like Snake Man in 4th gear. I'm not going to even rank those, but oh man, Aladdin's not here. Oh crap, we've not got Aladdin, we've not got Pound. I said that as I was fingering them there. Right, okay. So if Aladdin was here, it would be an A tier. Let me just preface it by saying, if Aladdin was here, he would be an A tier. Pound, probably B tier alongside Chiffon. Right? God, I miss out on Aladdin. Legend. Vito, I really liked Vito. I want to put him in A. I want to put him in A, but I didn't. There wasn't enough. Like, I'm going to put him and Gotti in B along with Chiffon. I really like the dynamic of the crew. I love his Vito's obsession with Germa. I think that's great. But yeah, good characters, but I just need a little bit more for them to be up to that next level. Jack, right, these are some of the Zoe ones here. And then obviously Germa we've got as well. Jack, we'll put him in A. We'll put him in A. I don't, or do I want to put him in A? Do I really want to put, no, I'm going to put him in B. There was a big hype up for this character. I think his Devil Fruit's, you know, cool with the, you know, the woolly mammoth thing. but do you know? No, do you know what? We'll put him in A. We'll put him in A because as a villain, because of what he did to Zoe, he is a villain. He is a villain you want to see get their comeuppance. We got to see it. You know, he got wiped out. He's been wiped out a couple of times. And I think that's my disappointment in him. Because he is meant to be like a big deal in Kaido's crew. And he got wiped out when he tried to free Doflamingo. I know you're a fish man because of that. If it wasn't for the gas, if they didn't use the gas on Zoe, Cat Viper and Dogstorm would have taken him out. He was about to get wiped out there. And then he got wiped out by Zunisha, who just kind of swept him. So, as much as I think, maybe not as intimidating as I first perceived him, villain-wise, yeah, he played that part very, very well. And was like the big focus of Zoe. So we'll give him A. We'll give him A. But just know that he's on a thin line here. Like he is. Nah, do you know what? He's going back. He's going to be. He's going to be. Because I don't feel like Daifuku and Smoothie and Montdora are lesser characters than Jack. So he's down there, right? Zunisha, I don't like. We'll just put Zunisha in C because I don't see it as much as like a character. It is a character, I get that, but you know what I mean. It's a tough one to gauge. Like, how do you judge that? So we'll go with C. Kind of middle ground there. Oh God, I just realised as well we don't have anybody. Oh, this has been a bad tier list, guys. But we've not got like Momo and Kinemon, Kanjuro. Right, okay. So they'd have been up there. They'd have been A tier. A tier would have been filled out with maybe Kanjuro and B tier. Not as much from Kanjuro. Obviously, we've grown very attached to Kinemon and Momo. I think that they're up there. I think that, you know, I could even see Kinemon flirting with S tier. But yeah, Momo and Kinemon I think are fantastic characters. You know, Momo more for the kind of comedic effects, but like Kinemon has been great. Kanjuro, I love his devil fruit and the gags that we've had from it, but probably in B. Right. Dogstorm and Cat Viper. I'm going to put them both into A tier. I think they're great characters. They have a presence about them. And like, there's been a couple of discussions about their Sulong forms, which I am very much looking forward to seeing after seeing Carrots. Oh man, that'll be good. Maybe we're probably 100% going to see it in Wano when we get there. The kind of Musketeers thought were okay. Put them in C. They didn't have much to do. This guy was funnier, the lion one, than the other two. But yeah, I enjoyed them, but not much else to it. Wanda. Do you know what? We'll give her. Did we give her? No. I'd say more B tier. She was good. I liked she had the great interactions with the crew. She is a kind of leader in that environment, but character-wise, not much. Not much. Obviously, compared to Carrot, who we've spent a lot of time with, she's not quite that caliber, but I think she's good. I think she's a good character. And speaking of Carrot, oh, this one's tough. Oh, this one's tough, guys. This one's tough because I can actually see Carrot as a potential crew member. But I don't think she's quite S tier. Am I crazy? I can't explain it. I can't explain it. I've loved her being with the crew, her interactions with the crew, her and Chopper bouncing off each other, her so long form and how badass that was. Yeah, I can't. No, I'm going to put her in A. I'm going to put her in A. But the fact that I'm considering it should tell you that she's a very likeable character. But yeah, I don't quite think S tier at this moment in time. Maybe down the road when we get a bit more of her. On the other hand, Pedro, S tier. S tier character, was a badass from start to finish, and the sacrifice he made just cemented it. Just cemented it. S tier. And that's the difference. I feel like we got Pedro's full kind of premise and resolution in this arc. And that's why he deserves to be there. Whereas Carrot, like obviously because she is Pedro's protege, she's built a foundation for down the line. She's going to be a character ongoing in this series. And I feel like she's going to build herself up there. But, you know, we got everything we needed from Pedro. His story is complete. And he deserves to be there. He deserves to be there. Love Pedro. Gutted that he's gone. But, yeah, belongs in S tier. These two were funny. But we'll put them alongside the kind of Musketeers. But I did enjoy these two. These two were kind of funny and so. Oh god, right, okay. Germa to wrap it up. I'm not going to rank Luffy's other forms because I think that's ridiculous. So, Judge. I'm going to put him in A. Like I said, and I forgot about Judge. When I was saying before that in terms of characters I think are trash human beings, and if I was basing it on personality and how much I hate them, would be trash tier, horrible. I mentioned Perospero and I mentioned Flampe. I forgot about Judge, right? But he is probably, in fact, I probably hate him more. I probably hate him more than the other two. But that is the way you're supposed to feel about this character. That's the way you're supposed to feel about this character. And the whole arc of Sanji's past and coming into this here and the stuff with the arranged marriage and watching him break down when he realised he was going to die and that his sons don't care about the fact that they're going to die. Watching that was fantastic. It gave me great joy, right? Gave me great joy. But yeah, he belongs like as much, and I'm going to do the same with the brothers. The brothers as well. Sanji's brothers, I feel like deserve to be in A tier because of the role that they played. You know, I despise them. But not as much as Judge, because I feel like it's not really their fault. I despise them because of the flashbacks we saw. But Judge is like the worst. The worst. So, yeah, I'll kind of go with that. But yeah, I love the premise of Germa, the backstory of Germa, like how the whole thing with Sanji involved in that. Makes you understand his character so much more. And I like the turnaround at the end. You know, the acknowledgement of Sanji. I love the fact that Niji put the, you know, the raid suit in Sanji's pocket, or not, in Luffy's pocket for Sanji. It kind of showed you, even though they wouldn't say it with their mouths, it kind of showed you that they acknowledged him as their brother. And I love that. You know, for people that have had their emotions stripped away. But yeah, just Judge, he's there because of like how much of a despicable villain he is and the role he played. Like, he has been a big part of this arc. And the brothers there, you know, say like not as calculating as Judge, but have played a big part in Sanji's life. And getting to see them finally understand that and see them maybe not change, but at least change their attitude towards Sanji in this arc was fantastic. And that leaves Reiju. Oh, Reiju. I want to put her there. I want to put her in S tier. But is it fair to put Reiju in S tier and put Carrot in A tier? Yeah, you know what? I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I don't care. I don't care. This is the one that I'm having the hardest time with. But I love her character. I love her character. I love... When you think of the gravity of what she's had to go through, being the only one that grew... Like Sanji got out of there when he was young because of Reiju. Reiju got him out of there. But when you think about it, once he was out of there, he had a loving parent. Well, you know, yeah, it was loving, right? Obviously, the way that they bantered with each other, but he had Zeph, Sanji, and he grew up in that environment. Reiju grew up her whole life with Germa, and she is the one with emotions. Like, she's been through a lot. She showed up, she saved us a couple of times. She was the one that was out there showing concern for Sanji and finding out about Pudding's secret. She's been a big sister. And she's consistently been a big sister. Even if she's tried not to show it, she's had Sanji's back. She's had Sanji's back since they were kids. You know, she could see, I love the kind of moments where she could kind of see like she could see their mother in Sanji, sorry. Because she will be the only one that kind of really remembers her. Because the other three sons didn't really care. But yeah, I don't care. I'm putting her in S tier. I love Reiju. Like these. I feel like that is a good 4 characters, besides the Straw Hats, to deserve the S tier title. Katakuri, Beige, Pedro, and Reiju. If you guys feel like anybody else deserves it, let me know. But those are the ones for me. Those are the ones for me. In A tier, the ones that I really like, that I feel like a bit like Carrot's knocking on the door. I really like Brule. Out of everybody else in A tier, I don't know why, but Brule, she's really stuck with me. But I just feel like S tier is just like a step too far. maybe in the future. We don't know. We don't know what's the future's gonna hold for One Piece. So they'll have their chance. They'll have their chance. But I think that's fair, guys. Let me know what you think of this list. In terms of thing with the S tier, yeah, Luffy at the top, Zoro. Who's going up there? I love Robin. Usopp. Sanji's got to have, because of this arc, he's got to put himself up there a bit. Is he going third? Put him there just now. Jinbei. In fact, I love Jinbei so much. Like, I may even put Jinbei third. Sanji. Robin. Oh, Brook was so good this arc, but does he get up there? Usopp. I go Usopp, Frankie. This flip flops for me all the time. That's how good this cast of characters is. That on any given day, these could swap around. Nami, Brook. I'd say Brook's deserved himself to be up there. Nami's just, like, Nami's fantastic. Let's put Nami up a bit. God, I feel so bad for some of these characters. I'm like, oh, I love Usopp and I love Frankie, and I feel like they should be higher. But, like, how do you gauge them against, like, these other crew members? It's so hard. Like, in terms of these ones here, Katakuri, like, let's get Katakuri up there, because I'm trying not to judge them against. Get him in there, because I feel like I said, he's become one of my favourite, like, characters. So get him up there. Get him up there. Not quite above Jinbei, but we'll give him that. Beige, love Beige. Put Reiju at the bottom. Pedro, Beige. That looks about right. That looks about right. I'm happy with that. So, yeah, guys, that is my rankings of Zou and Whole Cake Island. Like I said, there was a couple of people missing. If Aladdin was here, he'd be an A. Same with Kinemon and Momo. Kanjuro and B. Not had as much Kanjuro yet. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Do you think that is there any in here that you look at and you're like, Mark, you're insane? This should be up there and there. Like, anybody that you think deserves to be an S tier that I've not quite put there? Anybody that I've put in S tier that you think didn't quite make the cut, like shouldn't be there yet? Let me know. This is what it's about. Let's have the discussion, guys. And yeah, thanks so much. If you made it this far, it's a long video. If you made it this far listening to me talk about these characters, thank you so much. And we will be back in the next video starting Wano. Oh, I'm so excited. We're getting into Wano next, and I can't wait for it, guys. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. Everyone that has comes back, watches, comments, likes all these videos. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you all on the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.